the season. Another monstrous game in that overtime win at TCU. 35 points, 13 rebounds. He is as exciting a player as there is in Division I basketball.
Well, stay right where you are because we're about to tip off the men's side of the 2012 Mountain West Tournament with the conference champion San Diego State taking on the newcomers, the Broncos of Boise State.
This afternoon featuring the 8th-seeded Boise State Broncos taking on the top-seeded San Diego State Aztecs. Let's meet today's starting lineups. For Boise State at guard, a 6'3" freshman from Chicago, Illinois, number 2, Jared Morris. For San Diego State at guard, a 6'3" sophomore from Sacramento, California, number 2, Xavier Thames. For Boise State at guard, a 6'2" sophomore from Portland, Oregon, number 11, Jeff.
We welcome you back to Las Vegas, Nevada, the campus of UNLV. It is a beautiful day outside, but it's great to be inside for the 2012 Mountain West Conference Tournament. Our game 1 in the quarterfinals is Boise State and Leon Rice in his second season as the head coach of the Broncos. Longtime assistant at Gonzaga, took over Boise State, won 20 games last year, 13 games this season. And the dean of Mountain West Conference coaches is Steve Fisher in his 21st season overall as a head coach, 13th season on the Mesa, led the Aztecs to the conference championship this year. And now let's take a look at our keys to the game, brought to you by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram.
Well, for the visiting team, Boise State, the worst shooting team in the league, simply stated they need to shoot it in tonight. And a little easier said than done, they need to keep Jamal Franklin from having another monstrous night. For the Aztecs, they've got to guard the three-point line. One way Boise State can make it close is to shoot it in from there. And with those multiple offensive weapons, they need to share the ball and have good shot selection.
And that's Joe Cravens. How about we welcome the third member of our team, Molly Sullivan.
Hey, Bill, I wanted to highlight someone who may not be on the Aztec stat sheet, but Steve Fisher says that his team would not be where they are today without him. Athletic trainer Tom Abenar, who joined San Diego State last year after 24 seasons with the Golden State Warriors. Tim Shelton was quick to point out the impact that Abenar has had on his game this season. Basically, he said he makes magic happen inside the training room, and what he brings to the San Diego State team is a sense of comfort in knowing that their bodies are going to be ready for battle when they hit the floor, and of course, Bill and Joe, a little bit of luck as well.
Thank you, Molly. And Tim Shelton has gotten to know Tom Abenar pretty well this year. He's taken 30 charges this season, and here's a guy with bad knees. He's been around quite a while, but he's not afraid to mix it up. So when the game's over, Tom's probably the first guy that he goes to go see.
Well, great bloodline, a bloodline that's not soft. One brother played in the NFL, his dad a career NBA player. I don't imagine he was coddled very much as a young kid.
All right, we're ready to go with our first of 4 quarterfinals on a great day for basketball. Always one of the most exciting conference tournaments in the country. The Mountain West men's tourney is underway. Boise State, as the number 8 seed, will wear its road blue uniforms trimmed in orange and white. San Diego State, the top seed and defending tournament champion, in their home whites trimmed in black and red.
San Diego State starting out in a man-to-man. Watch their like sizes on the perimeter, able to switch a lot of things because of that like size.
Tim Shelton tried to draw the charge there, and Kenny Buckner gets the first 2 points of the game.
Shelton needed to hold his ground, kind of gave in to trying to draw that offensive foul. Buckner coming off a scoreless game in their last regular season game at the pit.
Jamal Franklin, the Mountain West Player of the Year, leaves it for Shelton, who scores off the glass.
Terrific pass then by the Player of the Year in the league, Jamal Franklin. Not just a scorer, a guy that really handles it. In fact, 5 assists in his last game where he had 35 points. Boise State's got to try to keep him out of the paint.
They've got the Broncos in a mess underneath the basket. Now they're able to pop it out. This is Derek Marks. Where's number 2? And that ball knocked out of his hands. Franklin gave chase, and Dremick 4 seconds to shoot for Boise State. Throw play, launches it and hits as the shot clock wound down from 1 to 0.
Thomas Broplay, a very capable shooter in their loss at the pit last Saturday, 2 for 4 from the three-point line. This Boise State team has used more starting lineups than anyone in the entire league. 14 different lineups this year.
Chase Tapley, he answers back with a 3 of his own, and that's critical for San Diego State. You know, Tapley at the beginning of the year was the one that everybody was focusing on for the Aztecs as the guy who would carry this team. Franklin emerged. Tapley kind of settled into that number 2 spot. But boy, when he gets hot, he can be very, very dangerous and just as productive as Franklin.
Well, between the two of them, the highest scoring duo in the league, averaging 32 between the 2 wing players.
Broplay tried to hit from the same spot that he buried that 3 a moment ago.
40% of Boise State's shots come from the three-point line. They have played a lot of close games, but boy, they've just had trouble finding the range, shooting under 30% from the three-point line, under 40% from field goal.
That ball out of bounds, and looks like it will remain with Boise State. The officials, Mike Littlewood, Michael Irving, and Casey Ely. And there's Mike Littlewood, who will hand it off to Anthony Dremick. That shot by Tapley was a 2, not a 3, so it's 5-4, Boise State with the early lead, very early lead. The Broncos 13 and 16 on the year, 3 and 11 in Mountain West play. They enter this tournament having lost the last 4 games. Buckner misses again, and this is Franklin with the rebound.
Outstanding post defense in by Shelton.
Then we've got contact, and a foul is called, a charging foul is called on Franklin. That'll turn the ball over to Boise State. One thing we're seeing very early on here, Joe, is Jamal Franklin, whenever that ball is in his hands, he is really attracting a crowd around him.
Well, he's a prolific scorer, 35 in his last game. Three-point shooter. He'll shoot it from there, a little around 30% from the three-point line, but he is such a creator. They list him at 6'5". He's got arms from here to Hoboken, Bill. I mean, he presents a lot of matchup problems.
Well, he's going to attract a lot of attention. His last 3 games, 28 points per game, 13 rebounds. That's pretty good.
Well, the scoring is one thing, but what a great rebounder for a guy 6'5". He is one of those instinctive rebounders. He's got a great feel for where the ball's coming and chases it down.
Broplay misses again. He's been active in the early going.
One of the things you'll watch with this San Diego State team that I really appreciate, a very businessman-like approach. They don't show a lot of emotion, neither, you know, a celebration or dejection. They kind of keep the same demeanor and just play whether they're up 10 or down 10, and I think that is a great characteristic for a team to have.
Xavier Thames hits the pull-up jumper. That was a tough shot.
They have such great individual talent, especially along that perimeter. Xavier Thames, the preseason newcomer of the year, an honorable mention selection, but you know, they've got Tapley, they've got Thames, they've got Jamal Franklin. Boy, they just, again, have so many weapons offensively, and again, that like size along the perimeter allows them to switch everything defensively.
Marks double dribbled, and that turns it over to San Diego State. Checking into the Bronco lineup is Joe Hanstead, and Jeff Eliaga goes to the Boise State bench. 4 minutes gone by. We're coming up on a media timeout. San Diego State has the 1-point lead. Xavier Thames, who has the ball, maybe the most important guy that San Diego State has seen develop this year, given the fact that he took over for DJ Gay, who was a 4-year starter at the point guard spot. And you lose somebody like that, you really don't know what you're going to get. And Xavier Thames, as Steve Fisher told me earlier this year, has made the transition seamless for them.
Well, he had a great advantage, and then he set out all last year. So he was in the program for a year, a transfer from Washington State. So he had first year.
Kenny Buckner gets 2 off the assist from Marks, and Boise State regains a 1-point edge. Tapley has it poked out of bounds as he dished it to Franklin, and with that dead ball, we've got ourselves a timeout. Pretty good start for Boise State because the Broncos have held serve with the top-seeded San Diego State Aztecs. Beautiful pass to Buckner. That turnaround kiss off the glass gives the Broncos a 1-point lead.
The 2012 Mountain West Men's Basketball Championship is brought to you by Dodge, Never Neutral, by America First Credit Union, where members come first, by Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance, and by Motel 6, official economy lodging partner of basketball fans everywhere.
Welcome back to Las Vegas with the Thomas and Mack Center, and outside the building, Goody Two Shoes is giving away shoes to some underprivileged folks in the area. It's one of the great things about the tournament is not only is it good for the community and a great place to come and enjoy basketball, but the opportunity to help the community is also one of the things that the Mountain West puts at the forefront. And with the day like we have today, we anticipate lots of crowds in the building as well as outside enjoying the atmosphere and getting a little help. So we congratulate those folks for such a great program. 7-6 is our score. 18th ranked San Diego State, the top seed in the Mountain West Conference tournament. Tapley hit his first shot, misses that one, and the rebound tapped around and finally grabbed by Thomas Bropley of Boise State.
San Diego State without an offensive rebound in these first 5 minutes. They need to get in there and kind of create some second opportunities. What I like about their offensive approach so far, they've had 6 shots, none of them from beyond the three-point line, really attacking the paint, playing off of one another.
That short pull-up rolls off for Derek Marks. We've not talked a lot about Anthony Dremick yet. He's handled the ball quite a bit. Has not taken many shots. Here's James Rahan, floats in the lane, and that rolls out. He had a good look at it. Bropley down the lane, off the glass, and another shot that rims out. Bropley got it back and put it back up and in. One of the things about Boise State, is that it's a very good offensive rebounding team. They average 11 offensive boards per game. That's third best in the Mountain West.
Well, when you don't shoot it in very good, you know you have to create offense some other way, and they have not done a very good job of shooting in, so there's a lot of offensive rebounds to get. Jamal Franklin here not doing a very good job of guarding the ball, and I think that was Thames on the wing there giving what's called arm help instead of body help, reaching for the ball instead of getting his body over there and getting it between the driver and the basket. Franklin, usually a very dependable on-the-ball defender, didn't do a very good job that time against Bropley.
Here's Jamal Franklin to the free throw line. He was fouled by Iloriaga, Boise State. He's shooting 2 here, and that free throw
in the Aztec lineup, Garrett Green.
He is good on the first of the 2 tries. Garrett Green comes in, and Tim Shelton will go to the bench. And we will see Shelton pretty much in a revolving door throughout this game and probably throughout this tournament. They tell me, and they've told Andrea Lloyd, I was visiting with her, Shelton rarely practices 2 or 3 days in a row, let alone plays 3 games in a row.
Well, he's a kid that's battled injuries his whole career there at San Diego State. Steve Fisher, the very seasoned coach that he is, knows that there's no use of beating the kid up in practice. And Shelton's such an intelligent player, wants to get into coaching once his career is over with. He doesn't need to practice that much, especially this time of year.
So Franklin's 2 free throws make it a 1-point game once again. Bropley and Buckner have all 9 points so far for Boise State. And again, Dremick, who has the ball right now, I'm not sure he's even taken a shot yet. Excellent defense on him.
Dremick has kind of hit that freshman wall. He's the only player on the team to start every game. Watch Boise State here. They do something on the ball that's really, they screen the ball here, and then they turn and re-screen it coming the other way. Very hard to defend because you get out and show on that first screen or defend it, and then they turn and screen immediately again. Now, what San Diego State has elected to do, very smart by Steve Fisher, they're going under every screen because Boise State's having such trouble shooting it in. When you go under a screen on the ball, that invites that outside shot. So, very good defensive game preparation by the Aztecs coaching staff.
Tapley misses the 3. And after hitting his first shot, he's gone a little cold. Broncos still have the 1-point edge. Ryan Watkins has checked in, number 23 for the Broncos.
Ryan Watkins is a kid who started almost all the games early in the year, coming off a nice game, 16 points at the pit. One of the things that's kind of plagued this Boise State team, on one hand, they're very deep. On the other hand, they haven't been able to quite find the combination.
Deshaun Stevens is also into the game for San Diego State. He's the Aztecs 23, and he's called for that foul.
What's this post defense here? San Diego State electing not to go double the post. Deshaun Stevens in pretty good shape there on post defense. He needed to keep his paw out of there and don't reach for the ball. Post defense is pretty simple. Stay down, stay between your man and the basket. Keep your hands out.
Boise State 4 of 9 from the floor. This is Marks. Good catch by Handstead. Drew Wiley out there, 22, giving it off to Bropley. Shot clock inside 15, winding down to 10. And Marks starts to make a move, and he's going to pull up for a 3-pointer and hit it. Boy, is he a confident player.
Well, he is. A freshman out of Joliet, Illinois. Started his career in their very first game against Colorado Christian, going 8 for 8 from the field.
Xavier Thames answers back for San Diego State, and it's back to a 1-point contest. You go 8 for 8 in your first college game, you probably start thinking, you know what, this college game's pretty easy.
Well, his next game was against University of Utah in Taco Bell Arena. Hit his first 3 there, so he hit his first 11 shots of his career.
Intercepted by Tapley, LeBradford Franklin. There's contact and an offensive foul on San Diego State. They blow a 2-on-1 opportunity, don't get the basket and turn it over, and that'll take us to another timeout. The Broncos, the number 8 seed, taking on the top-seeded Aztecs, have a 1-point edge thanks to some confident shooting by guys like Derek Marks.
Offensive foul number 3, LeBradford Franklin. That's his first 13 foul.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we over here in section 217 with a few of the 500 kids that came out to today's game. And before the game, they all received a pair of shoes, courtesy of Goody Two Shoes and Conoco. So welcome to the game. Show everybody your shoes. Thanks again to Goody Two Shoes and Conoco.
50% shooting by Boise State. 5 of 10 from the floor has given the Broncos a 12-11 lead on San Diego State in our first quarterfinal matchup. The tournament update is brought to you by Remax, the sign you want, the agent you need. Coming up in Game 2 of this tournament, it's the 4 versus 5 matchup. Colorado State trying to solidify its NCAA tournament resume, taking on a TCU team that everybody in this league will tell you might be the most dangerous right about now. New Mexico takes on Air Force in the 7 o'clock game. That'll be the 2 versus 7 seed, and then we wrap it up with UNLV taking on Wyoming. Those two teams met just a couple of days ago in the regular season finale, and even though it was a double-digit win for UNLV, Wyoming played very, very tough for about 35 of those 40 minutes. So that should be a terrific rematch in the finale. Wiley out of the break, launches a 3, and he buries it, and Boise State is now 3 of 4 from behind the arc.
Well, not very good recognition by San Diego State there. Wiley coming in off the bench is what coaches call a catch-and-shoot guy. You've got to make your team aware he's coming in and not let him get that good of a look from the three-point line.
Three-point shooting was critical for Boise State in the first meeting between these two teams. In that game in San Diego, the Broncos hit 7 of 22, and you say, well, that's not great. Well, it's not, but San Diego State was just 3 of 19. So those shots behind the arc kept the Broncos close. In fact, they led by 12 in the second half, but ended up losing by 2.
They had a great look to win it. They had the last shot of the game there on San Diego State home court. Did everything but go down, and the Aztecs escaped.
That, I think, is what you call an unforced error, an unforced turnover. That pass too far out in front of Wiley, and Marks just essentially threw it away.
That's what you call an unforced error that causes unforced gray hair for the coach. I mean, San Diego State just showed a little pressure, and the Broncos just kind of turn and throw it out of bounds.
You know, you started looking younger since you started doing television.
I feel like younger, let me tell you. That's a tough way to make a dollar being a college basketball coach.
4-point Bronco edge. This is Tim Shelton back in the game, making a move on Watkins, and it rolls off the rim. And Shelton is going to go to the line to shoot 2.
Tim Shelton playing to a really slow motion down there. A lot of guys get in a hurry when they catch it in the post. Tim Shelton taking his time, kind of backing his guy in and getting himself to the free throw line. A wily, seasoned veteran is Tim Shelton.
63% foul shooter. And good on the first of the 2. Now, I mentioned the three-point shooting and how critical that was in the first matchup, that 2-point Aztec win on February 1st. The real difference in that game and what lifted San Diego State to the victory was 25 of 29 free throw shooting in that game. Boise State was just 7 of 16.
Now, Boise State, for a team that should be a better shooting team, has just had trouble shooting it in, especially in the conference games. I had them early in the year against Utah. They looked terrific. Of course, you look terrific when you make shots, and they just hadn't made a whole lot of shots.
Watkins missed, got the offensive rebound, the 8th rebound of the game for Boise State, and the putback gives the Broncos their biggest lead as we reach the halfway point of the first half, 17-12, 5-point edge.
Boise State doing some hard things to get easy baskets, going to the offensive glass, creating offense.
Good job by Franklin to get out on Wiley, and Wiley high off the glass scores over the outstretched arms of Jamal Franklin. 19-12 Boise State. Xavier Thames quickly the other way, and another easy rebound for the Broncos. Boy, that difference in rebound is really inching up there. 10 boards now for Boise State, just 4 for the Aztecs.
Well, the Aztecs, again, I don't think have an offensive rebound yet. They're kind of one and done, not particularly shooting it very well. They've got to do like Boise State. I stated, doing something hard to get something easy.
Watkins too strong, and Shelton pulls down the rebound and took one in the eye for his effort. And now Dremick and Franklin are separated.
I think he got hit across the nose there. I thought initially he got hit in the eye, but I think Dremick's forearm caught him across the snout there. There's the outstanding trainer.
Tom Abdenauer thinking, you know what? I know Tim Shelton pretty well. I've seen those knees. He can take a shot on the nose.
Yeah.
He'll be okay. Tim's been around a long time. I think everybody, when they talk about Tim Shelton, that's one of the first things they say. And there's Franklin hitting a three from the top of the key. But I think Tim's probably going to be ready for his career to wind down so he can move into coaching where it might be a little less painful. Back to a 4-point contest after Franklin's three. Wiley bounces it down. Buckner launches that pass, and a nice catch by Dremick, saving Steve Fisher. Dremick pulls up, and that's his first shot of the game, and he used all parts of the rim and got a home bounce.
Dremick usually not a guy that creates a shot off the dribble. That time he did. He's more of a catch and shoot guy from the three-point line. I think, again, he's just kind of wore down. What's this last Aztec bucket here, operating with Franklin at the elbow where the free throw line and the lane line come together. They kind of isolate him there. And as I said, not a great three-point shooter, but you have to guard him from there. He probably doesn't know he's not a great three-point shooter.
And he was fouled by Wesley Perryman. Franklin was standing a few feet behind the three-point line at the top of the key and was able to draw that foul on Perryman. Casey Ely and Michael Irving in conversation, and now Irving's going to go to the scorer's table.
Watch again where he catches it on and around this elbow area there. They kind of isolate him there, and I'm not sure he was really going to a shot once he felt pressure there. Very alertly went to his shot. That's definitely a three-shot foul, isn't it, Bill?
Well, I think he just saw that hand extended and thought, I'm going to go for a shot because it was extended and firm, and I might as well just draw that foul.
Kind of an NBA-type instinct there by Franklin, a kid that may have a chance to play in that league in another year or two. Great instincts by this kid. You know, some guys are good players and don't really have that feel for the game that coaches call. This kid has great talent and a great feel for the game. And you saw it just there again. I'm not sure he was going to his shot as soon as he felt contact. He did go to his shot and got himself at the free throw line. Last time they played at TCU in their last game, he shot 17 free throws. All great scorers have a knack to get to the free throw line.
Well, and that's a place he didn't want to be a year ago. He was a dismal free throw shooter, and we talked to Steve Fisher earlier in the week about Jamal Franklin and the improvement that he's made this season. I asked him, did you think that he had it in him to be the player of the year of the Mountain West Conference? And Steve Fisher, in all honesty, said, we didn't have any idea that he'd be able to do something like that. But he really, Jamal Franklin, watched Kawhi Leonard, the way he went about his business last year. And Franklin only played 8 minutes a game, a couple of points a contest, really studied and learned, and has been the last guy out of the gym and improved his game. His free throw shooting up to 80% this year. Really deserving of the Player of the Year honor. Wiley a three. Well, that three-point shot has been very good for Boise State.
Well, that was caused by dribble penetration by Dremick there. The old draw and kick, draw two defenders and kick it to the open shooter. San Diego State had a pretty good possession defense going there and gave up dribble penetration, which opened up the great three-point shooter Wiley.
Tapley tries to answer. That doesn't work. Yeah, and the rebound tapped it around. Loriaga comes down with it. Boise State is 4 of 5 from the arc. It's a team that was 5th in the conference in three-point shooting at just 34%. So Wesley Perryman. And now Dremick. Rayhan with a hand in his face. Good pick by Buckner, and Dremick gets free to put that shot up. No good. Buckner the rebound. Another offensive board and put back for the Broncos.
San Diego State's got to get to their block out. That time there was no sense of missing that block out that time. I'm not sure if that was Shelton or Jamal Franklin, but way too easy getting to the offensive glass are the Broncos.
A 9-point edge for Boise State. Now remember, the Broncos led in San Diego by 12 in the second half, but lost to Tapley on the move. Scores with his left hand.
We made mention at the early part of the game, Tapley and Franklin, the highest scoring pair duo in the league, averaging 32 between them. Jamal Franklin that time just simply switched that ball screen. That great versatility they have, not just on offense, but on defense as well.
Inside 6 to play in the first half. This is Dremick with 5 seconds on the shot clock. Spinning on Rayhan. Perryman's all by himself in the corner. And Franklin gets the rebound off the miss. Tapley, a lot of blue jerseys around him. Leaves it for Xavier Thames, and the three is hit on the other end.
And San Diego State very unselfish. Tapley a great scorer himself, creating offense for his teammate there, driving the ball deep to the paint. Thames doing a great job of reading it. Watch as we bring this back to you. Watch here, getting the ball deep to the paint, finding the guy on the perimeter. Thames, great rhythmic shot there. A great example of playing off of one another. Great team basketball.
The tournament bracket is brought to you by Dodge, Never Neutral. San Diego State and Boise State opening up our quarterfinals coming up at 3:30 Mountain Time. Colorado State, the 4 seed, TCU, the 5 seed. Those two teams have played 2 thrilling games this year. A double overtime game in Fort Collins and a 4-point game in Fort Worth. New Mexico has had it relatively easy, shall we say, against Air Force. A pair of 30-point-plus victories over the Falcons this year. And then we'll wrap it up with UNLV and Wyoming in the nightcap. And I'm guessing by the time we get to that point of the day, this place might be filled.
Well, I would suspect a great atmosphere for a conference tournament down here. Boise State has brought a nice crowd. How about for a last-place team in the league? Boise State's last home game, you would have thought they were playing for a conference championship there at Taco Bell Arena. Great spirit by their fans. They had a real nice crowd. I tell you, this has turned into such a terrific basketball league.
And I've maintained over the last 3 or 4 years the best atmosphere for a conference tournament has been right here in the Mountain West. And that ball is out of bounds. Boise State will maintain possession when we come back. Well, Boise State, the number 8 seed, has played and shot with a lot of confidence in this opening game. 4 of 6 from behind the arc. It's a reason why Boise State has a 4-point edge. 8 leading the 1. Could we be experiencing the madness already? Boise State has a 26-22 lead on San Diego State. 5:18 left to play in the first half. Coming up on Ram Trucks Halftime Live, Marius Payton, Fred Langley, and Mike Evans are standing by in our Denver studios with the tournament update. And we'll also check in with Andrea Lloyd and Marty Fletcher courtside to take a look ahead to the second half. With Joe Cravens and Molly Sullivan, I'm Bill Dolman. Hope you are enjoying our opening coverage of the quarterfinal day of the Mountain West Tournament.
Bill, remember one of the keys for Boise State was to shoot the ball in. Right now shooting 55% from the field and 66% from the three-point line. There's a reason they're up 4 points right now.
And San Diego State has held 47 consecutive opponents to under 50% shooting. And Boise State's 55% out of the gate. Franklin's going to put up a three, and well, he needed to make that because there was nobody there to pull down a rebound.
San Diego State, the stat that jumps out at me right now, no offensive rebounds, Bill. You want to try to get 1 out of every 3 missed shots, and that's acceptable. Right now, they've missed 9 shots and don't have a single offensive rebound.
Well, have they been too quick with the trigger?
Well, you know, you're not too quick with the trigger if it goes in.
Like it did for Marks right there.
Marks, a big, strong body for a freshman. He is a kid who has a very, very bright future in that Boise blue.
Thames just threw it into Marks' hands. And there's Dremick all by himself. Plenty of time to spot up. Too much time to think about it. And Thames tracks down the loose ball.
Dremick, I think, has lost his legs a little bit. Only one of his 18, now one of his 19 last three-point shots. And as quick as that, San Diego State comes charging back.
That's the second time that we have seen Boise State with an opportunity to get a bucket or an easy bucket, only to have San Diego State come back and hit a three. The last time we saw it, Boise State called a timeout.
San Diego State, again, with so many offensive weapons. Rayhan's a kid that is kind of an afterthought to them offensively, and yet one of the best three-point shooters in the league.
Marks had his shot blocked. Franklin, there's contact, and a charge is, no, it's a blocking foul called on Dremick. And that whistle takes us to another timeout. Leon Rice does not agree with that call. And he will let the officials know that, and he'll have a little extra time to do that because we've got a timeout with the Aztecs coming back, trailing it by 3. The drive to the hoop is brought to you by Jeep. Visit Jeep.com or your local dealer. And Drew Wiley is giving us our first drive to the hoop. Wiley is 3 for 3 from the floor, including 2 of 2 from behind the arc. Much different than the first 2 games he's had against San Diego State this season when he went 0 for 4 in the first one and 0 for 1 in the second contest. So he had something to prove against the Aztecs.
Drew Wiley, I said, kind of a catch-and-shoot guy. In league play of his 136 shots, 110 of them were three-point shots. He's only got himself to the free throw line 12 times. Now, that's a mark of a shooter, a catch-and-shoot guy. You don't usually see him drive and put the ball on the floor like he did in that highlight.
Xavier Thames kicks it into Chase Tapley. LeBradford Franklin left alone in the corner. Garrett Green really battled hard for that rebound. And the ball was swiped out of his hands, out of bounds into the Boise bench. And who's going to get the ball? The Broncos.
Big Garrett Green there, the transfer from LSU with only 1 year of eligibility, has been a great addition to this San Diego State team. One of only 3 guys to appear in every game, but at his size gives them a lot of versatility coming off the bench.
Boise State has controlled the score throughout most of this first half. And now we've got an offensive foul away from the ball on Buckner, trying to get position on Green.
Buckner was setting a down screen that time off of a little set play and moved on the action.
Look at San Diego State and the ability to not get rattled, show some poise, make some shots, and come back and win. 9 times this year, rallying from 9 points or more down, and one of those rallies for victory was against Boise State in San Diego, trailing by 12 in the second half, and they won that game by 2. Marks has that go off the rim.
A tough miss there by Marks. That big, strong body bought him some room.
That was a beautiful pass by Tapley. Franklin gave him the heads up as he was streaking down the floor, but that had to be precise on the alley-oop.
Well, that was a terrific pass by Chase Tapley. Tapley, known as a scorer, also a very, very good passer. Just a good player, very good defender as well. San Diego State comes at you with multiple ball handlers. A lot of times just a point guard will bring it in transition. They've got 4 guys on the floor who all bring it on the fast break. And that's really tough on your transition defense.
Garrett Green had great position on bro play and then stuck a hand in there and got called for the foul. Let's take a look at San Diego State in transition.
That's a tough pass, and he puts it right on the money to Jamal Franklin. Watch Franklin call for the ball there, knowing he had the angle. That's the one thing, it's hard to guard Franklin. He's so good in the open court, so good on the break. You said it, Garrett Green had great position there and just reached for the ball on that last defensive position. We talked about Tapley being a total player. There he is, a very smart cover down on the post, coming away with a steal.
And he comes back and hits the 3. And that gives San Diego State the lead. Last lead for the Aztecs was back when it was 6-5. So Tapley gets the steal, his 54th of the season, and then comes down and is rewarded for his effort with a 3-pointer on a nice bounce.
Well, let's just talk about Tapley in the last 3 plays. Great pass to Franklin, a steal, and then a made 3-pointer. Boy, just bang, 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 and his team takes the lead.
Marks, that time he gets it to go off the glass.
Marks just bigger and more physical than Thames in. Again, Marks for a freshman with a great body.
Rahan. And Thames is going to settle things down. We're in the final minute of the first half. And how about this? Not much decided. We opened the game scoreless, tied, and now we're tied at 30. Still tied after that miss, and another rebound for Boise State. There's just nobody there under the glass for San Diego State.
They have yet to get an offensive rebound. And I'm sure Coach Fisher will point that out to them at halftime. And being a smallish team with all these perimeter guys, the best place to offensive rebound from is the perimeter.
Wiley bounces it to Buckner. Good patience shown by Kenny Buckner. The Broncos have the lead with 7 seconds remaining in the half, and Steve Fisher is going to use the 20-second timeout.
Watch San Diego State kind of roll the dice and come out and double team the ball. You see out away from the floor. Now that breaks into a 2-on-1 situation, breaks down to a 2-on-1 situation there. Boise State doing a nice job of attacking that double team.
So the Aztecs will have the last possession. Fouls have not been an issue. Free throw shooting has not been much of a factor in the game so far. Boise State does have 16 fouls, so if there is a whistle here in the final 7 seconds against the Broncos, that would send San Diego State to the line.
Boise State getting all kinds of points in the paint, 18 points in the paint, a lot of those coming on second shots, obviously on drives. San Diego State has got to make a concerted effort this next half of keeping that ball out of the paint.
Buckner has 8 of those 18. The game clock down to 2 seconds as Tapley launches that shot. He got a hop off the front of the rim and the ball bounces away, and that's how the first half comes to a close with the 8th-seeded Boise State Broncos going to the locker room with a 2-point lead on San Diego State. Boise State controlled the scoreboard most of the
and not dribble the ball out of bounds.
And that ball lobbed to Buckner, but he was trying to position up the lane, and
Tim Shelton terrific on post defense that time, forcing the lob play over, but never losing contact with his offensive player. Big and strong and smart down there. Tim Shelton is as a post defender.
Xavier Thames, Jamal Franklin, Chase Tapley, Tim Shelton, and James Rahan for San Diego State in white. This is Thames. Transfer from Washington State, draws some contact on the shot. Almost a 3-point play, but he will shoot 2.
Thames, great dribbling skills, change of pace, change of direction coming off of this ball screen. Some guys are what you call a straight line driver. They just put their head down and bring it right at the basket. Thames that time again changed pace and direction 2 different times within 15 feet of the basket.
Thames good on the first. He has 9 points in the game, matching Franklin. So San Diego State gets its points from the free throw line to open up the half, and we're tied at 32.
Thames has now made 62 of his last 64 free throws. And let me tell you how significant that is, that your point guard is a great free throw shooter. Late in the game, you just keep the ball in his hands and know that he's going to come through at the free throw line.
Buckner battles hard for the rebound and had it poked out of his hands. Franklin draws some contact from Dremet. His pivot foot was in the back court, not in the front court, and that's why that wasn't an over and back call.
Well, what great, again, basketball sense Franklin had of catching, being under control, and throwing it then to the front court.
Tapley picked up by Dremet.
I thought Tapley missed Shelton on the low post that time.
Here's Shelton thinking about a 16-footer, and that's a good thought. How about shooting it, Tim? And that gives San Diego State a rare lead, 34-32.
Well, Buckner probably did the right thing by gapping Shelton at 16 feet, daring him to shoot it. And that he did, and he shot it in.
Boise State opening up with Marks, who has the basketball. And now Dremet. We got Thomas Broplay, Buckner, and Iloriaga on the floor for Boise State in blue. And off the miss, there's a foul. And if that's on Buckner, that's his 3rd. Instead, it is on James Rahan of San Diego State.
Watch Buckner gapping or playing very soft here on the perimeter with the low block there. That's where they want to keep the ball out. Shelton foiled that defensive thought by just jumping up and shooting it in. I thought Boise State played that the right way, though.
Fouls, by the way, have not really been an issue. There were 10 whistles in the first half. We didn't shoot a whole lot of free throws. In fact, Boise State didn't shoot a free throw in the first 20 minutes. San Diego State was 5 of 7.
Drew Wiley getting a lot of attention now defensively. Remember, 8 first half points. This time his matchup Franklin, boy, keeping track of him with every pass.
Good pass inside to Buckner. He missed. Dremet was there, and the putback rolled around and out. And the end result is a foul on Buckner of Boise State, and that is his 3rd.
Xavier Thames missing a block out there. Dremet, the leading scorer on this Boise State team, with just 2 points, missing a great opportunity there. Very impressed with, I'm sure, what Steve Fisher told his team at halftime in watching Jamal Franklin locate the kid Drew Wiley, who really hurt him in the first half. Boy, he's giving him great attention now, paying attention to where he is virtually on every pass and every possession.
I mentioned a moment ago that fouls have really not been an issue, and we still haven't had a lot of fouls called, but we do have one player in trouble, and that is Buckner, and that's Shelton missing, but he gets the putback to go down, and the lead for San Diego State is now 4. It's the first offensive rebound for the Aztecs in the game, and it gives San Diego State its biggest lead. Boise State is 0 of 4 out of the gate from the floor after shooting 52% in the first half.
Well, look at Franklin on Wiley like ugly on an ape there. Not going to give him a single look from the three-point line.
And Marks has it taken away by Xavier Thames. 3-on-2 break for the Aztecs. Tapley leaving it for Thames. Too strong. Rebound Boise State. Marks through traffic. Dremick for three. Got it.
The first good look Boise State has had this half. There's a reason they were 0 for 5 before that. San Diego State has really picked it up defensively.
Thames going away from the glass. Got that to kiss off and in.
Thames, honorable mention, all conference this year, is really a very good point guard. Just a sophomore. He'll be a first-team all-league guy before his career's over.
Dremick with another three. He had 2 points in the first half and now 2 threes back-to-back, and we're tied at 38.
Well, coming into this game, I felt like he had lost his legs. Only 1 of 18 in his last 3-point shot attempts, and now he's hit back-to-back.
And the rebound to Ryan Watkins, but he turned it over. Jamal Franklin gets hammered, and a late whistle as he goes to the court. That'll be a foul on Boise State, and that'll take us to a timeout to kind of calm things down. The intensity and pace is picked up. After an 0 for 4 start to the second half for Boise State, Dremick is heating up a little bit. Back-to-back threes, and we're tied at 38.
The 2012 Mountain West Men's Basketball Championship is brought to you by your Albuquerque Toyota dealers. Visit Larry H. Miller American Toyota or Larry H. Miller Toyota Albuquerque today. By Great Clips, it's gonna be great. By the Wyoming Department of Transportation, WYDOT reminds you buzz driving is drunk driving. Always designate a sober driver. And by Remax, the sign you want, the agent you need.
With Joe Cravens and Molly Sullivan, I'm Bill Dolman. Great to have you with us today and hopefully all day on the mountain for the 2012 Mountain West Men's Quarterfinals. 4 games for you. And the first one has been terrific. We got the #1 seeded and conference co-champion San Diego State Aztecs taking on Boise State. First year in the Mountain West tourney, the #8 seed, and they're not playing like it. Jamal Franklin out of the timeout. Coaxes the first of the 2 free throws in. Franklin on the year, 4th in the conference in free throw shooting at 80%.
Well, he gets there a lot too. 175 so far in this season, coming off a game at TCU in that huge win where he got there 17 times.
Drill play tracks down the miss. 1 for 2 for Franklin and a 1-point lead for San Diego State. This is Wesley Perryman. Good catch by Dremick. In the lane, a lot of company around it. 5 minutes gone by in the half. Shot clock inside 15, down to 10. 5 seconds. Wiley, a long-range three, and that shot's not long enough.
Well, Bill, again, watching that possession, San Diego State has made the adjustment of getting to Wiley. Watch, every time Wiley catches it, they have a hand over the ball individually, defensively, to keep him from rhythming into a shot. That time, they knew exactly where he was, and you saw he didn't even draw iron on that shot.
Dremick, a hand in the passing lane. He gets the steal. Well played. The three, got it. That's a big shot for Boise State, and the lead is back to the Broncos side.
That came off of a turnover. Transition defense is very tough to execute when you turn it over in and around half court. That time, Dremick gets a steal, drives it to the paint, finds Broplay on the perimeter.
The Broncos are 7 of 10, Joe, from behind the arc. And a whistle away from the basketball, and that is going to be an offensive foul and a turnover.
It's back-to-back turnovers. Watch this time as Dremick does a great job of penetrating to the paint, finding Broplay. Broplay makes the Aztecs pay. The Aztecs now, after that last offensive foul, have not even got a shot up in the last 2 possessions.
Broplay's a 33% three-point shooter. And now the Aztecs have extended the defense for the first time in the game. Perryman sprints it across the timeline. He's picked up by LaBradford Franklin. Remember, Kenny Buckner is on the bench for Boise State with 3 personal fouls, and Broplay to the glass is fouled from behind. And that's Deshaun Stevens, who will send Broplay to the line.
13 foul.
Thomas Broplay, a big, strong body at 6'5", able to go down in the paint and be productive, and as you said, a 33% three-point shooter. Has started 10 games this year. This whole Boise State team, again, we talked about 14 different starting lineups. They're very deep, but yet have failed to come up with the lineup that can win games.
12 different starters, and of course, the story coming into this season, Dremick goes to the bench. The story for Boise State is the fact that this is a very new team. 11 newcomers, 8 freshmen, and 3 junior transfers. 1 of 2 at the stripe for Broplay. Those were the first free throws shot by Boise State in this game.
Every player on Boise State's team has started at least 1 game.
49 freshman starts coming into this. Stevens, nice catch. He used all parts of the rim to get 2 more for the Aztecs. A 1-point Bronco advantage.
Nice pass by Jamal Franklin. He's more than just a scorer. In that last game, he had 35 points, also had 5 assists. But like you said, that was a very, very nice catch by Deshaun Stevens in traffic.
Eloriaga is in for Boise State. This is Broplay. Look how active San Diego State is defensively. They seem to have turned up the intensity from the first half to the second half in terms of challenging everything the Broncos are doing. Long rebound picked up by Xavier Thames. Numbers again for San Diego State. And the follow-up by Franklin as a highlight maker.
That's what makes him such a prolific scorer. It's not that he scores off of set plays. He scores in transition. He's a great offensive rebounder. He's just a tough kid to keep out of that scoring column.
And we've got a timeout taken by Boise State, and we'll take that timeout as well. San Diego State has regained the lead on the Broncos, 43-42. The drive to the hoop is brought to you by Jeep. Visit Jeep.com or your local dealer. And how about Jamal Franklin? Not too many offensive rebounds for San Diego State in this game, but if you're going to get one, do it in spectacular fashion.
That's like the way to break the ice.
12 points in the game for Jamal Franklin. Those are those plays that had nothing to do with body position and boxing out and trying to get some leverage. Just go make a play.
That's what you call being the tallest hog at the trough there, Bill. I tell you, he is such a high-level athlete with those long arms. Boy, what a basketball player.
So San Diego State, who was led by as many as 4 in the second half, has a 1-point edge. That 4-point lead is the biggest of the game for the Aztecs. Boise State led by 9 at one point in the first 20 minutes. Here's Wiley. He's been good from long range, and that shot's no good. Xavier Thames, 3-on-3 basketball, leaving it for Deshaun Stevens, who is tied up from behind by Derek Marks. And the held ball, possession arrow goes to Boise State.
Well, that didn't end good for San Diego State, but they had a terrific possession of defense. And that kid right there, Deshaun Stevens, like a free safety down here on defense, patrolling that paint. If you want to watch good defense, watch Stevens away from the ball right now, how alert he is, how he helps his teammates. And then he ran the floor like a gazelle. Again, it didn't end well, but Deshaun Stevens being big off the bench for the Aztecs.
Dremick is back in for Boise State. Did a nice move to shake free from Tapley. Buckner's back in with those 3 fouls. And we've got another held ball, and the arrow points in the direction of the Aztecs.
Player of the year, Jamal Franklin, not just another pretty face. Watch him dive on the floor for this loose ball.
And that gives us another timeout and an opportunity for a Geico game break. We send it over to Molly Sullivan.
Hey, Bill, we've seen Jamal Franklin's athleticism and competitiveness on display again here tonight. He's filled up the stat line game after game this season, and I would venture to say, Bill, that no player in the Mountain West has worked harder to improve his game, and what's made him the Mountain West Player of the Year is perhaps his ability to work hard when no one is watching, and he worked on the mechanics of his jump shot, playing in more control now, and of course, one of the most reliable shooters at the free throw line in the country. But here's the thing, Bill. Although he's really changed his body in the offseason, my big question to you is the extra A in Jamal. What's it stand for? I'm going to go with ability. What you got?
How about attitude, athleticism, awesome, something like that? Thank you, Molly. Geico is saving people money on more than just car insurance. All right, but how about we revisit our tournament bracket brought to you by Dodge, never neutral. This is the first of 4 quarterfinals. The top-seeded San Diego State Aztecs and number 8 seed Boise State. Sure doesn't look like it's a 1-8 matchup to this point anyway. Coming up at 3:30 Mountain Time, Colorado State, the 4 seed. Its NCAA tournament resume is solid. They want to solidify it against a TCU team that many people coming into Las Vegas think is a team that could win this tournament and make it all the way to the big dance. You've got New Mexico, the co-champion, but number 2 seed taking on Air Force at 7 o'clock. And later on tonight, a terrific matchup between the 3-seeded, 3rd-seeded UNLV Runnin' Rebels and a Wyoming team that has been very scrappy all season, one of the top defensive teams in the nation, taking on the top offensive team in the Mountain West. You've got good teams, terrific individual stars, Mike Moser of UNLV, Leonard Washington for Wyoming, Adam Waddell, the ultimate Wyoming Cowboy, J.D. Luster, Anthony Marshall. That last game of the night, I think, is a terrific way to cap off our quarterfinal day today. And, of course, the semifinals are set for tomorrow, both on the men's and women's side. Right now, San Diego State has a 1-point lead on Boise State. Xavier Thames, a lot of dribbling, a lot of work to get that shot, and it paid off.
San Diego State is so impressive with their individual talent and how Steve Fisher has gotten them to play together. That was all just great talent by Thames. I talked about him changing pace, changing direction, was able to just take the easy pull-up then.
Tapley steals it and falls down and lays it in. He went down hard.
Tapley 3rd in the Mountain West Conference in steals with a couple tonight that have led the basket.
And now it's the biggest lead for San Diego State, just 5 points. Grotlay's in trouble, bailed out by Iloriaga. That shot's too strong. Buckner battles for the rebound. Dremick down the lane, kicks it out. Iloriaga, a three. Couldn't come up with it. We've got a whistle and a foul. Down goes Franklin. Boy, there's a lot of action going on, and that foul is on Buckner, and that's 4.
Well, the Aztecs have picked it up defensively, holding Boise State to less than 25% shooting this half. 5 turnovers, and again, Tapley 3rd in the league in steals this year, and that is actually his 4th steal of the game.
Boise State's last field goal was more than 4 minutes ago at the 14:31 mark. And the Broncos, who shot 52% in the first half, are just 3 of 13 in the second. Tapley, that three is good. Well, he's taking over this game right now.
Great individual talent playing as a team, these Aztecs.
That's the thing that Steve Fisher is probably the most proud about when he talks about this team. Dremick just forces up a shot, and he got it to fall.
Rayhan did everything he could defensively there. Rayhan, a real unsung hero on this team, an outstanding defender, and can really shoot it in from 3. And as you said, Tapley kind of putting on a show right now.
He was the guy coming into this season who was expected to lead San Diego State, and he did through the early part of non-conference play and through the first of the year. But then that's about the time that Franklin emerged. And of course, Jamal Franklin really put his name on the basketball headlines with that game-winning shot against UNLV. Ryan Watkins can't get that to fall as he's fouled.
Remember, Jamal Franklin started the year as the 6th man for the Aztecs,
right.
Was coming off the bench. And in all his infinite wisdom, Steve Fisher said, well, maybe this kid should be in the starting lineup.
Well, with good reason. A year ago, the numbers for Jamal Franklin weren't all that impressive.
This kid at the free throw line for Boise State, an interesting story for those who regionally or University of Utah fans. His grandfather is the great Billy the Hill McGill, the all-time leading scorer at the University of Utah.
And before Watkins shoots those free throws, Boise State's going to use a timeout. They now have 3 left, and so does San Diego State. 9:14 to play. The Aztecs are enjoying their biggest lead of the game, 52-45. The tournament update is brought to you by RE/MAX, the sign you want, the agent you need. So this is game 1 of 4 today in the quarterfinals. Coming up, you've got TCU and CSU. That's the 4-5 game. Colorado State is the 4 seed. Later on tonight, New Mexico and Air Force. The Lobos have handled Air Force easily so far. And then later on tonight, in the 3-6 game, the Runner Rebels and the Cowboys. There's Anthony Dremick. He only had 2 points in the first half. He's got 8 here in the second half. A couple of big threes back-to-back. But after he hit those, that's when Boise State went cold for about 4.5 minutes.
Well, they went cold for a reason. The Aztecs took it from a decent effort to a up-the-chart effort, and boy, they have really gotten after the Broncos defensively at half court in this second half. Boise State coming out in the zone now, giving the Aztecs a little different look. Jamal Franklin at that break went over to the bench, Boise State's bench, and gave Buckner kind of a high five and showed a lot of sportsmanship there.
And Franklin over Wiley, and Wiley's defense wasn't bad. He contested the shot, but he has that high set and release, Jamal Franklin, on his jumper.
He's got a real high release point on his shot, and I've talked about the length and the width of his arms. That back home, they'd say he's got arms like well ropes on him. They just go forever.
Watkins, hook shot, everything but down. And Thames crashes into the photographer's area.
Boise State
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that Thames got hit hard enough to fall down, but I think he added a little degree of drama to that to make sure the official knew he got hit from behind.
Hollywood's not too far north of San Diego. You got to learn a thing or two.
Boise State extending that zone a little bit now, making it a little tougher on the Aztecs to get into that half-court rhythm. 70, the magic number for Boise State. They're 12-1, Bill, and they have scored over 70. I don't believe they're going to get there in this game.
Well, they're going to have to pick up the shooting pace. Xavier Thames, 3 seconds on the shot clock, and that ball tapped out of bounds by Tapley, and that'll take us to another break with 7.5 to play in our first quarterfinal. San Diego State's on top, thanks in large part to Chase Tapley, who scored San Diego State's last 7 points to give the Aztecs an 8-point lead. Clips of the game are brought to you by Great Clips. It's gonna be great. Jamal Franklin has had another terrific game for San Diego State. He's gotten some help in the second half from Chase Tapley. Those two, along with Xavier Thames, that trio of San Diego State stars, all with 14 points. And the Aztecs have a 54-46 lead. The top seed leading the number 8 seed. The 8 seed has beaten number 1 just once in the history of the Mountain West tournament. That was back in 2004. when Colorado State defeated top-seeded Air Force 60-48. Hook shot no good by Broplay.
Boy, Stevens is a very effective tool for San Diego State off the bench. A great defender and rebounder. The kid didn't even play high school basketball. Went to Santa Monica Community College. And boy, he is a very, very nice player. Can guard a couple different positions. Great teammate, very enthusiastic. You know, a lot of times guys like Thames and Tapley and Franklin get all the headlines, but it's those star role players like that kid who make great teams like the Aztecs.
Chase Tapley has had a terrific second half. Another three-pointer. He has 17 in the game. He's 3 for 6 from the arc. And by the way, he's also dished out 4 assists. Wiley. And the three-point shots that were falling in the first half aren't falling here in the second for Boise State.
Remember when Wiley came into the game in the first half, I said San Diego State did a real bad job of recognizing that a shooter was entering the game, and he found himself open, wide open 2 or 3 times. That's the best shot he's had this half, and he had to hurry that. They've done a great job of recognizing him this half.
Boise State at one point was 7 of 10 from the arc. By my math, it's 70%. Rehan has that rim out and the rebound to Dremick. Right now, the Aztecs are 7 of 16, missing their last 6 shots from three-point range. And that's stripped away by Xavier Thames. 3 on one break for San Diego State, and Franklin lost a handle on it. Stevens picked it up, and a foul was called on Dremick.
Bill, in the last 20 games, these Aztecs have held their opponents to less than 60 points and less than 40% shooting. Equally as impressive offensively. They can play fast or they can play slow.
This copyrighted telecast of the Mountain West is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any retransmission, reproduction, rebroadcast, or other use or dissemination of this telecast or the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Mountain West is prohibited. With Joe Cravens and Molly Sullivan, I'm Bill Dolman. We welcome you and hope you're enjoying the Mountain West Conference Tournament from the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. We're on the campus of UNLV. 57-46 is our score, with San Diego State the top seed, an 18th ranked team in the country, leading Boise State. Broncos led it 32-30 at the half. And you saw a moment ago the TCU Horned Frogs making their way into the building and actually making their way back to the locker room, the number 5 seed. TCU and head coach Jim Christian will take on Tim Miles and the Colorado State Rams in game 2 of our 4 today here on the Mountain. Go ahead.
Excuse me. If San Diego State goes on and wins tonight, they've already had 7 straight 20-win seasons. This will be their 4th straight year to win 25 or more games. Pretty impressive.
And go back in time to Steve Fisher's first season as Stevens misses the first of his 2 free throws. Steve Fisher was 5-23 in his first year at San Diego State, which was the first year of the Mountain West Conference. He's been around for every tip-off that this conference has had, and the way he has turned around the program. 34-3 a year ago, a Sweet 16 team, losing to eventual national champion UConn. But there was no danger of that 5-23 campaign. He had a lot to rebuild when he got there, and he certainly has done what they hoped he would do and probably exceeded expectations.
Well, I could go on and on about Steve Fisher's accomplishments, but let me simply say this. One day he will be in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
You know, and I think he was deserving of being the coach of the year. Wouldn't you say so, losing a couple of the guys who are already in the NBA?
You know, it's kind of a shame that there's only one coach of the year in this league because, one, this is a terrifically coached league. There's some guys like Jim Christian, Tim Miles, Larry Scheidt, who had done terrific coaching jobs this year. But when you lose 4 starters and an NBA first-round pick, and you have your team the next year ranked number 18 and a co-conference champion in the Mountain West Conference, you deserve to be the coach of the year. And what a nice gentleman off the court. One of the great ambassadors of college basketball.
Anthony Dremick with those free throws is in double figures today. He has 12 points. He's moved up to 2nd all-time at Boise State in freshman scoring. He's a guy who has started all 29 games that he has played this year. There's a turnover on Franklin. He's called for traveling. We have not seen too many mistakes by the Aztecs since they've returned to the floor at halftime.
Not only is he a great individual player, Steve Fisher and his staff do a great job of getting him the ball where he can be successful. He's really hard to deny catches at half court because they put him in such great places to catch and operate from. That being one. That time it didn't turn out very well.
That's the first turnover of the second half committed by San Diego State. Buckner, with those 4 fouls, gets free and scores and gets tripped for his efforts.
Well, one of the few mistakes San Diego State has made defensively this half, and that went to Jamal Franklin as well. Just kind of fell asleep down there on low post defense. You better be careful. This Bronco team has crept back to 7 points, and they hit a couple of threes, and it's a whole new game.
57-50, and San Diego State is comfortable in this territory. Inside 5 minutes to play, the Aztecs have won 68 consecutive games when leading with 5 minutes to play.
The Aztecs in a tough position now. 1 second left on the shot clock. It almost has to be something up in the air, a lob-type play.
Timeout, San Diego State.
Perhaps Steve Fisher has just the play for that situation, because he's called the timeout. So 4:13 left to go. Time to honor our Motel 6 sixth man of the game. And how about Drew Wiley off the bench for Boise State? He had a great first half, scoring 8 points. They need that kind of shooting here in the second half. So congratulations to Wiley, the sixth man of the game, brought to you by Motel 6, official economy lodging partner of basketball fans everywhere.
Well, as I've stated a couple times, Wiley has become pretty popular to these San Diego State half-court defenders. They haven't given him hardly a look yet. I believe they're going to add maybe a couple seconds to that shot clock. Looks like maybe it went out at 3.
Well, when the timeout was called, Steve Fisher made his way over to Mike Littlewood, one of our 3 officials. And you've got 2 officials checking the monitor out right now. The 2 teams have taken to the floor. There they are. Littlewood and Michael Irving satisfied with what they saw. And no adjustments have been made to the shot clock. The Aztecs will have 1 tick to get a shot off.
What's it go to Stevens? If I had to guess, it would be something up in the air to Stevens, who is lined up on the elbow.
Franklin way under the basket, but it's Stevens who gets the offensive rebound, and that's no good. Bro play pulled it down for the Broncos.
That was my next guess. That was going to Franklin.
Just too far underneath the hoop. Marks out to Bro play. 3-pointer, no good. Buckner had it in his hands, and he gets the rebound, and a timeout is called by Derek Marks. Not sure that was necessary, because it looked like Buckner was going to get possession, and I'm not sure he even had possession when the timeout was called.
No, I'm not sure what possessed him to call that timeout there. It looked like you say, Buckner had control of the ball. I tell you, Ropley had a great look at that 3. If that goes in, boy, things get pretty tight here.
Well, Boise State will have the ball and a full shot clock. And you know, I told you that this is a pretty good basketball tournament. Sometimes you get a few familiar faces who come into the Thomas and Mack. Doug Flutie, I believe he was a pretty good quarterback in his day with Boston College.
A little undersized, but yeah, pretty good.
The architect of one of the great plays in really sports history when you think about that, the Hail Mary pass that defeated Miami in the old Orange Bowl. That will live on forever and ever and ever.
He was what coaches refer to as a winner. He just figured out how to win.
Dremick gets it back off the inbound and sweeps that shot, and Buckner goes way up to get it. And then he's undercut by James Rahan. And that will be the 6th team foul on San Diego State. So no free throws, but a timeout coming, so Buckner can recover.
His 3rd, team 6th. Timeout on the floor.
2012 Mountain West Men's Basketball Championship is brought to you by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. By America First Credit Union, where members come first. By Union Wireless, featuring the Samsung Galaxy Nexus and contract buyout. Get up to $200 to switch carriers. And by Jeep. Visit Jeep.com or your local dealer.
Bill Dolman, Joe Cravens, Molly Sullivan with you at the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. The San Diego State Aztecs trailed by 2 at halftime, 32-30. Have shot the ball well, played tough defense, and have taken over the game here in the second half. A couple of long scoring droughts for Boise State, one about 4 minutes, another about 5. And as a result, the Aztecs have a 57-50 lead. Probably not comfortable just yet.
Not yet.
Broncos hitting just 3 of their last 14 field goal attempts.
San Diego State did a great job of defending that end out of bounds play. And Jamal Franklin on a reach sends Dremick to the free throw line. So far, the Aztecs have held Boise State to 25% shooting. And remember, at halftime, Boise State had 18 points in the paint. This half, 2.
And the three-point shooting has also not been there for the Broncos. 7 of 10 at one point, 0 of 7 since then. Now Dremick's at the free throw line. That foul on Franklin, his second. It's also the 7th team foul of the half on San Diego State. So Boise State is in the 1-1 from here on out, and it's just a 5-point game. 6 straight points scored by the Broncos.
Boise State that time extending their defense a little bit, again trying to disrupt San Diego State as much as anything.
Tapley left it for Deshaun Stevens, and it's poked out of bounds by Boise State. 12 seconds to shoot for San Diego State with 3:18 left to play. The 8th-seeded Broncos in blue, the top-seeded Aztecs in white. Xavier Thames working through traffic. Tapley, he's had the hot hand in the second half, and it's still hot.
Boy, they just have a great feel for one another. Thames getting that ball deep into the paint, really with no intention of shooting it, just finding Tapley out as he spotted up for that three-point shot. They have terrific team chemistry.
Marks too strong. Rebound, Thames. Outlet pass to Franklin. Bounce pass back to Stevens. Oh, that would have been spectacular. Dremick on the other end buries a 3. And the Aztecs may have gotten a little too fancy. Boise State answers back to make it a 5-point game again.
Yeah, I think the Aztecs would like to have that play back again instead of the highlight reel. Just a simple layup would have done the trick there. That was a 5-point turnaround. 2 the Aztecs don't get, and 3 they give up down at the other end on Dremick's three-point play.
Rayhan lost the handle and got it back to Thames. 3 seconds now to shoot. Thames on the move, in and out, no good. Marks the rebound. Ahead to Buckner. Rayhan strips it, and Tapley has it.
One of those unsung plays again by Rayhan. A great defensive play in transition there. The Aztecs content to run a little clock here. They're 1 possession away from Boise State having to foul. Not this one, but the next one. If they have a 5-point lead, Boise State will have to put them at the free throw line.
They have 16 fouls. James has it knocked away.
Thames trying to do a little bit too much then, trying to split 2 defenders.
Marks has a chance at a 3-point play. Confidently into traffic, a lot of white jerseys around it.
This is the almost spectacular play that should have been an easy 2 that led to a 5-point turnaround, and then Marks at the other end with a great finish, the chance to draw his team within 1 possession now.
He used Buckner kind of like a blocking fullback, paving the way down the lane through those Aztec jerseys. So here's Marks with 9. And 10. And it's a 2-point game with 1:12 left to play.
San Diego State with 2 timeouts left.
Tapley got in trouble, bailed out by Ray Hunt on the corner. Next Boise State foul puts San Diego State at the free throw line.
45, the Aztec bench calling. That's an isolation for Franklin, where they get the ball to him off of that elbow. What a great call.
And Buckner backed away because it looked like he didn't want to pick up that 5th foul. But in the final minute, don't you need to challenge the shot?
Well, you would think. 45 is their call here, where they get the 4-man and the 5-man at the elbows. Remember, the elbows where the free throw line and lane line come together ends up being a clear out for Jamal Franklin, who delivers, as you would suspect a player of the year in the league should be. But, like you say, Kenny Buckner had a great opportunity to come make a defensive play on that.
Or at least foul him and put him at the free throw line to earn the 2. Instead, he just kind of opened the door.
Yes. Big free throws here, make or miss. San Diego State does not need to attempt another free throw, another shot. What they're going to have to do is make free throws.
Boise State is 8 of 10 from the line in the game. And Drummond is good on the first. He's a 72% foul shooter on the season.
Now what you see now, Shelton coming in for Deshaun Stevens, because Shelton is a better free throw shooter than Stevens and much more seasoned. And they'll use him as on the press break. Watch, they'll probably get the ball to Shelton, who will then get it back to a guard. Boise State's going to have to foul. Only 2 seconds between the shot clock and the game clock. They'll sell out first, Bill, to trying to get a steal if Drummond makes this, and then they're going to have to foul pretty quick after that.
Good on both in a 2-point game, 62-60. These two teams played a 2-point game in their first meeting in San Diego. Tapley in the corner, throws it to Thames. Thames steals it, and it's stolen away by Boise State. Inside it goes to Brooklyn, and we're tied at 62.
2 timeouts left by the Aztecs.
What a comeback by Boise State. Thames is able to save that ball from going out of bounds, but he saved it to the wrong team.
A little too casual on their press attack here. They inbounds the ball the worst place you can in the coffin corner. Boise State in a scramble situation there comes away with 2. Thames probably should have tried to throw that ball long to half court.
62-62. And
now you would think that the Aztecs will take the last shot of the game here, Bill. They want to take it with about 5 seconds left to have a chance to get to the offensive glass. Look for some kind of high ball screen, probably for Thames, or maybe that isolation play again to the player of the year, Jamal Franklin. But the very first thing you got to address is you got to get the ball in. Remember, you got 4 offensive players, 5 defensive players, and before you get too far ahead of what we want to run with how much time left, get the ball in bounds first. But look for them to take the last shot with about 5 seconds left.
It's a 16-5 Boise State run. The Broncos have had a couple of long droughts in this second half. At 1-point shooting just 25% after 52% in the first half. And look around the arena, Joe. Everybody is standing. Folks in Aztecs black and red. In Boise State blue and orange. In Wyoming brown and gold. I'd say the madness has begun in the Mountain West.
It's just a great atmosphere, Bill. Boy, if you're just an everyday fan, you want to see great college basketball, this is the place to be. Boise State's going to make it tough for the Aztecs to get it in. And again, the Aztecs not doing anything special to get it in. Let's see if Thames can get in the catch.
Now remember, the next foul on Boise State sends San Diego State to the free throw line for a 1-and-1. We're tied at 62, final 10 seconds of the game.
Watch Bro play on Franklin there at that elbow. Bro play trying to keep the ball out of his hands.
Franklin with 2 seconds, forces the shot, it's good! The Aztecs advance! They've won it on the shot by the player of the year!
How about that? Steve Fisher, the master, says give it to the player of the year. Let him take the last shot. Jamal Franklin hits a really tough shot. Role play doing everything he can, watching to keep the ball out of his hands. Off rhythm, three-point shot. How appropriate for the player of the year in the league.
He had the game winner in early in conference play. The last second shot on a drive that beat UNLV, and that's the play that really put Jamal Franklin in the basketball headlines and put him en route to being the player of the year in the Mountain West. Here's a moment when Jamal Franklin puts an exclamation point on what has been a spectacular sophomore season. Franklin wins it for the Aztecs, and Molly Sullivan is with the winning coach, Steve Fisher.
Bill, an exclamation point is right, Coach. Talk about what